Good morning. Let's go over ADA, USDT.D, and XRP. Okay, so on the daily chart, we're having some very wide swings. And I believe these are closely related to USDT.D. So I really want you to be always paying attention to that chart because it's going to be shining some light on here. However, in proportion, it's very, very bullish. Even on the down times, ADA is responding very bullish. So that means that we can use it as an opportunity for bullish days in a very, very good sense. So there's three main areas that I think we're going to be able to get some entries in. First, I had it here in this area, but I think I'm just going to move my second buy entry up to this area right here around $2.19. I think that's where I'm going to be moving my next buy. The next buy would be if we had a change in behavior coming from this area and then we'd bounce up here in this area. So that would be around $2.50. I think that would be the next buy area. Those are the two. There's another buy area that you would want to be looking at, but this has nothing to do with price action, and that's related to an event. That's okay. So the next main announcement that you guys got to know about is that ADA is in the process of upgrading, and it's been in the process of upgrading, and so every now and then it releases a major upgrade. So let's get into some of this. So Cardano Alonzo hard fork. Cardano Alonzo's update brings the network much closer to its full capabilities. The Alonzo hard fork is a major upgrade on the Cardano network that sees the much anticipated implementation of smart contract functionality. Smart contracts are pieces of computer code that automatically execute when certain predefined conditions are met. After the Alonzo update, anyone will be able to create and deploy their own smart contracts on the Cardano blockchain network, paving the way for native decentralized applications, or called DApps. The system update, which is expected to roll out fully sometime in the third quarter, which is actually going to be tomorrow, signifies the end of the Shelley era of Cardano and the beginning of the Guggen phase, although there is no set date for the Alonzo hard fork at the time of this writing. There is tomorrow. And these are called eras. So currently the era they're coming from is the Shelley era, and it focuses on decentralizing the network by setting up incentives for users to host their own nodes. The main goal of the era is to make sure the nodes or individual computers are run by a diverse group of network participants rather than a small centralized group of users. So they were trying to spread out the network, so people were using it. It says Guggen, and there's only 3 more phases left, but Guggen introduces smart contract capabilities to the network, allowing developers to create decentralized applications on top of Cardano. And the next one says it's the Basho era, and it will improve the underlying performance of the Cardano network to be able to process more transactions and scale up. This era also introduces sidechains, which is a means of scaling a network using multiple blockchains. So they're going to be working in tandem with other systems. And then finally, Voltaire. Voltaire adds voting and a treasury system for a self-sustaining governance. Users will be able to stake their funds to influence further development in the network. So those people who help build it will have more say-so about what goes into the network. So this is a big one. This is a really big one. The next part is that the Alonzo stages. The Alonzo hard fork is split into 3 main color-coded phases: Alonzo blue, Alonzo white, Alonzo purple. There are also 2 smaller phases post-Alonzo dubbed Alonzo red and Alonzo black. Each phase essentially adds more users to the test net and identifies bugs that need to be fixed. Alonzo blue introduces smart contracts with around 50 technical participants, mostly stake and pool operators, invalidation errors, and other simple fixes that were found and tweaked during this phase. The standard bugs are expected to appear and be fixed as Alonzo goes through testing. Alonzo white adds more features and wider ranges of participants to Alonzo blue. And Alonzo purple, it becomes the fully public testnet. This is the first that will allow smart contracts. The later will allow more complex contracts. And then it says, then comes the final stages of red and black Alonzo, which are reversed for the final bug fixes to prepare for the final release of any hard fork. Any future tweaks to the hard fork will be difficult to make it past this point, and it's important that these phases are looked at carefully. So staging adds quality assurance as code is frozen and exchanges are prepped for the Cardano hard fork. So exchanges that have the coin will also be able to accept any of the updates that happen. So I'm seeing some of these. Oh, and all of this comes from CoinDesk.markets, Cardano Alonzo hard fork. So you can see the article there if you want to go ahead and read it. Here we have OKCoin, Cardano hard fork depositing and withdrawal suspensions. These will be, it says withdrawals will be suspended from September 11th until the hard fork is completed. And they're saying that the hard fork should be completed tomorrow, which is September 12th. Here's one from Bit4x, notice of supporting upcoming hard fork, saying that it would be accepted approximately September 13th. So they're saying that's, and then it also says that trading and deposit and withdrawals will be suspended on September 11th. So you're going to see some funny stuff happening around that time, but let's see historically. Historically, ADA had a hard fork that was completed on March 1st of 2021, and that was part of an original upgrade. It said there was no new coins that were created, but there was some upgrades to that area. If we look at price action on March 1st, we don't see that much happened in the way of prices going up. At that moment, it wasn't till all the way till May that price started going up, so about a month or so later. However, it's important to note that the upgrade at that time was just spreading out. This upgrade may be a lot more important and bigger because this one's the one where they're allowing for smart contracts and developers to start developing applications on top of Cardano, which is really going to greatly expand the network. So it seemed like the first Shelly upgrade was more about getting the word out, and this one is actually about building it and having some type of utilizing function that can actually make some kind of profit for the for developers. A much more bigger incentive, I would think, just from what I'm reading about this. So tomorrow could actually be a really big day for ADA. And will it happen? That I'm not sure. I don't spend too much time worrying about all the fundamentals because most of the time these announcements that are made are usually known in advance and show up in the data. But what is happening with ADA? We're going to be breaking it down into some segments because there are people that are long-term holders in different cryptocurrencies, and there's people that are short-term swing traders, and so you're maybe taking 1 or 2 trades a week, and you're ignoring a lot of the chop during the way. But there's also people that are intraday traders, and those type of traders will be closely monitoring like a 30-minute chart, 1-hour chart, sometimes a 5, 10, 15-minute chart, depending on how quickly, and they're going to be taking a lot of those trades for maximum gain. So I'm going to go over some 1-hour charts. I'm going to show you some things you can look at if you're looking for those kinds of things. But I'm going to start with the daily chart. So let's get into this. Okay, so let's get into ADA and what I see on ADA. So this is the chart that I posted from yesterday, and I actually believe we're going to be able to get some lower prices, and that's because of the data that I see from UST.D. So I on a short-term scale, I had let everyone know this is not a longer-term trade like I normally do, but this is like an intra-week trade. I think that in this week we may be able to get prices down here. So I exited some of my ADA position here at 231, and currently price came all the way up to this intersection here. Now remember, these intersections are really powerful areas, but I wasn't expecting it to come to this intersection here. So this intersection is caused by supports from here, here, and the resistance of here. Where these come through, they form like a magnet point, often that price will be drawn to. And price currently is sitting right in that pocket there, which is really interesting. However, I do want you guys to all be aware of, look at these wide swings. Price can come all the way down, come up, all the way down, come up, up and down, up and down. And this is in relationship, almost direct relationship, to what's happening on UST.D, and it's not showing up in ADA's data at all. So we're really paying attention to UST.D, and right now I'm very for UST.D, I'm actually very bearish for just a little bit more until we hit some more key areas. So I'm not really trusting of coming up to the underside of here if I don't see much data. However, there is some data that pointed to this on the 1-hour chart for those people who are intraday trading, and I'm going to go over that. Okay, so here's that same trade again on the daily chart, and we came right up to that area here, and then we, I believe we're going to be coming down, but I'm still believing we're going to be getting to this area. Now, I had originally placed my order here around the middle of this area. I think around $2.10, $2.10, I think, around there. But I'm going to move it up to this green area. So I'm actually going to be moving it up to around 218 at the moment, just to be safe. If it doesn't hit that target today, I'm probably just going to get in whatever the price is before the end of the day, because I'm still very bullish AD. I think we're going to be going up to Prophet Robin's first target here, and then actually the data, the real target was up here. And I might be in for the long run. I may just not worry about it. Depends on if the chop is tradable. If I see clear signals, like if we get a clear signal here, then Prophet Robin said that we should be experiencing a resistance at this level. But when we do go up to 5, past above 5 will happen really quickly. And currently those projections right here are, for me, $6.07 and $7.28, as I explained in some of my other content. So I do have some very high targets with ADA, and a lot of this is just incidental in the long run. So this is not, and again, for my trading, this is just kind of short term because I do plan on getting a lot of in XRP, but there are times when I'll have 2, 3, 4, or sometimes 5 cryptocurrencies at a time. So I'm letting you know I'm still bullish long term ADA, but at the moment, for short term for this week, I think I can get better prices here again in this area. However, because of the news, what's going to happen if we don't get that today, then I'm just going to take whatever price I can get, and it'll probably be in here. But I think we might be able to get that today. It's very, very possible, and I'll show you why. But before we do that, I'm going to be going over quickly more ADA. So let's go over to a 1 hour chart. I'm just going to break some of this down for you guys so you can see it. So is there some bullish run in here? Yes, there is. Look, I'm going to slice this for you guys if you guys are slicing, okay? Okay, guys, so here is some cuts for you guys. If you're trading a 1 hour chart, you're gonna be wanting to use the sword method, and you're gonna be wanting to cut prices, and you can see a lot of things. Okay, so we're gonna break it down. So it kind of seems a lot, but let's break it down. So first of all, we have this big supporting line that had become resistance. So normally it would look like blue, or I'd put it as a green, because price is bouncing on here. However, when price cuts through that line, when price breaks below that line and the trend line cuts, we mark that point as a very important point. And that area will become the sword cut. Depending on how big and how strong the trend was, or how many times it bounced, in this case it's 1, 2, 3. But depending on how many times it bounced, you can find the strength of the sword cut in various degrees of strength. In this case, it was pretty strong, and that would help you with timing. So if you're trading like a 1 hour chart, you want to look for those type of timings. And I'll usually do this as gold, as if it's a resistance. But if I really know it's going to be a support line, then maybe I'll make it like a more darker color, But for right now, just to denote that it is a sword cut, I always just leave it as gold. However, there are some other sword cuts here too. Okay, and that's this one right here. See this big blue line right there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's also a nice sword cut. The price cut through it here at this area. We draw the cut. This line was exhausted here when it bounced. So there's a chance either price can bounce on the sword cut again, but it also can go through and fall through because it's not a support anymore. So in this case, we see that price fell through. So if you're trading 1 hour charts, this is something important to be aware of. Okay. So now from here we can start drawing some more things, and there's other points you can draw. If I'm connecting the bottoms of here, where's the cut? The cut is here, and we can see price resisting off of that level. We can draw a few points here by connecting the cores here. So if we were connecting those cores, it would give us that. If I was drawing the top of the cliff up here to this swing here on the wicks, price could either come down to this line again, or it can just move at the cut. And you can see that price did find support at those areas. Here's another one that you can draw on ADA, and this is going to be a phantom. Okay, so you can draw it this way by creating the phantom, but then when you have that, you duplicate the line and you put it here. However, because of my view is on logarithmic, it will skew that line. And recently I found a better version of a better tool to draw the line, which it's going to be the parallel channels. You can use that one. But even if you didn't, just make sure the angle is parallel with the angle here, and then you can just stretch it. But you're just making sure that that angle is correct. And sure enough, we see that price sat down on that here. And so on a 1 hour chart, there's lots of opportunities. You can also draw the sword cut lines from here to here. Let's draw them out. Good. And what this does is it allows you to start learning behavior and what behavior is expected with price. Because if you can know those behaviors, you can know these well in advance. I'm going to be deleting all of these because they start to clutter up my charts, and I try to keep the ones that are most important and are not in play. But again, if you guys are using these types of cuts, then you should be knowing about them. Here is some major cuts. Here's another really major one. This swing is important on a 1 hour chart, maybe higher, because we went up, came down, up, a little down, incidental, came down. And so the major swings before we went up is this one and that one. Okay. This one already drew on the 4 hour chart, but if we were drawing that, okay, as the line where we're going to cut, we look to see where price cut at, and it's here. Then we would start from there our drawing, and we'd be looking for two things. price to form a reversal here. There's something else too. If if you were drawing this on the 1 hour chart, you're going to want to draw this wick to wick or core to core. But in my case, I always like to draw both. So I'll draw the core and then I'll touch the core. And then you can just click on this, which is your settings button, style, extend line right. So you just click on that button and it extends it for you all the way indefinitely. And this gives you a range. So what you do is you can start from the bottom one, draw to the top one, and there you go. And now you have a range for your cut. And you don't need to keep it at the beginning. You can keep it there. But you keep that range in play. So in this example, this one can act a little bit like a support. So maybe we'll make it that color. And this will act more like a resistance. And to check your work, you can actually go to a higher time frame, like a 2. In my case, I would go to a 4 hour chart. Ooh. If we're looking at a 2 hour chart, you can actually see that a little better. And let's see if that was more accurate. See how this is going to be more accurate on a higher time frame. This is the actual range here. Yep, there, see, that's more accurate. And then let's check our work on a 4 hour, make sure that's still the same data. And eventually you're going to find a point where it's the correct range. And the higher ones always win. So if you see a higher range, look for there, because it's going to start telling a story. If I go to a daily chart, it doesn't really show up. But if I go back down to the 4 hour chart, it does show up. So there's a range. So now we have these points in time. And this is why I think we're going to get a lower price. So we have two main reasons. This is an intersecting area. So at that point, it's more likely price will gravitate towards that. But also, we're a little bit weak because we're underneath the major swings. Okay? And this is the first time price is tested. So it's very likely that price will come back down into these ranges. But if you were trading just on these on the higher time frames, right now it looks like chop. So the lower time frames make a lot of sense for intraday trading. So those are people like taking multiple trades. You may take 2 or 3 trades a day. And if that's your trading style, you may want to start incorporating some of these principles. It's going to really help shine a light on what you're doing. If you're taking multiple trades a day. So if that's what some of you guys, then hey, that's good. I do some of that in my private life sometimes, but I'm not always intraday trading. It sucks your whole life away. You can really just be glued to your charts 24/7, and unless you really know what to look for, it can be a little bit dangerous. So these things are not so really important at all in the whole grand scheme of things. But some of the more important ones I do shine out for you. So let's go over some of the more important ones. So here, if I was just to draw on the daily chart, I do see that we hit the swing here, but we should have had support at this area here, but we didn't. We did not, and that's, I believe, closely tied to UST.D. So if you have a failed support at those areas, then look for it to become a resistance in the future if prices go back up to those. So right now, where this was a failed signal that should have been a support, price remembers that. So now it's possible that it can be a resistance. So now I have three main reasons: the intersecting point, and the failed support. Okay, that should have been the support, now turned resistance. So that leads me to think that I really think we can still get lower prices. So right now, this is looking like it's going to be some type of resistance on the higher time frames. So I want you guys to be paying attention to these things. I'm going to mark this. Let's choose a color since we can mark it as well, it's a sword cut. So, we'll just mark it as a normal sword cut color. So I'm going to mark it right there at that point where it's exactly where it should be. And currently we're watching price, and what is happening with price? We're coming right back down below that area. So even though price can go up to certain areas, if you are just trading on price numbers alone, that can really kind of mess you up. You have to trade on behavior. So there's two behaviors that I would expect. I should say you should rather be trading on expected behavior. And again, for me, guys, this is this area here, and the other one would be is if we came up over this line and then had something in here, maybe either at the 250 or the 231. If that's the case, then according to my methods, I'll be long. However, again, this is just all in one day. If I can get these lower prices today, I'm just gonna buy it, not worry about it, because again, I'm more of a swing trader anyway. So I'll be trading along and then I'll be just in a good position probably to ride. I may take out my profit at 340 and then look to get back in maybe at the previous highs, but I would want to see what swing occurs here because it would let us know how low we can get at those points. But as it is, guys, earlier last week I gave you all of these green numbers well in advance, so you know where I'm at. But as far as ADA goes, I'm letting you guys know what things I see for today. I believe I'm just going to be moving my buy entry up to here, and let's get into USD.T in the next segment of the video, and I'll be showing you guys how it relates to ADA. So I'll get this out to you guys.